What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing a mid to high stretched skin fade with a box out. So let's get this thing going. So to begin, just like how we start every skin fade, we're going to be doing blade closed and keeping it right around the middle of the C cup area and dropping it a little bit in the back. So for our next step, we're going to be using the foil shaver. Just make sure you leave enough space in between that for the trimmer. So now we're going to take the trimmer right in between where we were with the foil shaver and where we used that zero closed blade from the master. And just gonna get rid of that little line there. Nothing too crazy, don't push anything up too far. So once we've used the trimmer and gotten rid of that line between shaver and trimmer into that zero, we're going all the way open with the master and giving a pretty big sized guide because we are gonna be stretching this fade out pretty far. So this is the most important part of the fade we're going to be doing now. We're going to be blending from that zero into that open blade, starting from zero and slowly opening the blade up as we go. So since we used our trimmer before, we may have pushed up that zero line, so now we're just going to bring that trimmer back and slowly flick out at that line just to make sure everything is fully blended before we move on. So now we're going to be doing our next guide. We're going to be using the one all the way closed. Just make sure to keep this section not super big, not as wide as we did that open blade. So now that we have our next guide put in, we're going to be blending in between that with the open blade. Just make sure not to push it all up too much. Just kind of want to flick at it and use corners and get rid of any weight lines we see. So now we're going to be putting on the one guard again. We're just going to be opening it up all the way and then slowly making that guide a little bit bigger. Just make sure that we aren't going too much with the shape of the head. This is a higher fade, so you are going to kind of be forced to go with the shape of the head to actually blend it, but we don't want to make his head look too round from the front. So if you're getting some value out of this video, let me know by leaving a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, and if you have any suggestions for future haircuts, just let me know in the comments. So our next guard is going to be the 2 all the way closed. Just like we did before on the 1 open, we do not want to go too much with the shape of the head. So just go straight up with it and make sure it's blending nice and easily into the top part, which we're going to use scissors after this guard. So just before we bring in those scissors, we're going to use our trimmer and just line up the sides here a little bit. We're also going to touch this when we do the full front lineup and when we razor everything, but this is more just to clean things up for us right now. Now we can bring out the scissors and do some scissor over comb just to lightly blend everything into the top, and then after bring some thinning shears as well, just to make sure everything is nice and perfect before we cut the top down. Now with cutting the top, it's the same thing I do in every one of my videos that I show. We do the front part first and get our initial length that we want here, and then we're going to end up doing a middle part right down the middle of the head, kind of making a mohawk, and then that's going to set a guide for the entire head in which we cut left and the right panel that we've just created. So now that we have our guides set down the middle and in the front, we're going to be cutting the panels from the left and the right side of the mohawk. You can see there's a little indent in the hair that I'm pulling up. We want to make sure to cut all the hairs to the shortest length that's there. So once we've finished cutting the top to the length that we want, we have to layer the side into the top. So we're going to be combing and pulling up right on the sides there, and you're going to see a little bit of a peak. You just want to cut that off, and that layers everything perfectly. So now on this side, it's the same exact thing we were doing before. We're just layering the top into the sides. As you can see, it's pretty long because it was a comb over, and we want to make sure this is all nice and layered, so we're pulling it out and cutting off any little peaks we see here. So now we're going to be doing the box out. As you can see, he has a bunch of hair on the hairline that grows out underneath it, so we want to make sure to get rid of that, and in the process make everything nice and straight across. So we're going to start in the middle and then work our way to one of the corners, and then once that corner is perfect, then we can go to the other side. So now we're going to be starting in the middle of the head again, just to finish off the other side. We're essentially mirroring what we just did on the left side here on the right, trying to keep things as natural as we can, so don't push anything too far back, just more making it crispy. So because he does have a lot of hair that grows on his hairline, it does make a little bit of a shadow there. We want to make sure to razor this, get it nice and sharp, but also it's mainly just to get rid of all the hairs that I'm currently razoring right now, just to make sure they're as short as possible so everything looks super clean. and this is our final product. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.